We are live, ladies and gentlemen. This is the FTW Podcast, episode 118, coming to you live on June 12th, 2012. On tonight's show, we'll be talking Slammiversary, No Way Out, and Sting being inducted into the TNA Hall of Fame. My name is Joe. My God, it's good to be back, that crappy hiatus. With me, as always, since episode 3 is Rob. Say hello, Rob.
Yo.
And Lee from the WrestlingNewsSource.com.
Hello, hello.
And Garvin is manning the boards.
Hey.
Hey, there he is. All right, if you're new to the show, check out FTWpodcast.com for more about us and how to get involved in tonight's show, as well as upcoming shows. Yes, we are going to do more. You can reach out to us on Twitter, Facebook, voicemail, text message, and email. For those of you listening live, we'll be bringing in your comments and questions throughout the show, so if you want to have your voice heard, this is your opportunity. Tonight's live cast can be found at ftwlive.com. You can also email questions at ftwpodcast.com. And if you're on Twitter, use the hashtag FTWLive. We'll be reading all of your messages on the air throughout the night as time allows. For those of you not listening live, sit back and relax. This is going to be awesome, and you can listen to us. That's damn right. So, episode 116 follow-up. Cool Hand Flash wrote to us and said, "Don't know why I feel I need to add this, but China's Vivid shoot is called Backdoor to China. The interviews were cool, like Harrison had commented, but the porn was insanely awkward to watch. And there are 2 nights in China, so technically Harrison needs to watch one more movie if he wants to see it all." And my thought on that is, maybe he did. He said he watched like 5 hours of like one movie. I can't imagine any porno being 5 hours long.
It was a back-to-back feature, probably.
Probably. He probably didn't. They probably clipped out the credits or whatnot and just rolled right in.
Does it really take you 5 hours to manage to, finish doing what you're doing?
I think he was actually watching it for content, and we can ask his wife, but he probably doesn't take that long in the first place. So, jumping over to episode 117, that was the last episode. Cool Hand Flash also added that he said, "Okay, so the Joey Ryan thing is an angle. It has to be. If it isn't, TNA are really messing up their biggest chances. Because Ryan didn't throw away anything, in his opinion. His character is to act like he did. He worked there like he belonged, which is way more than whatever the other guy was who did the previous gut check." I pretty much have to agree with him on that. I don't know what you guys think, but I think that Joey Ryan, he went in there and he owned that role. For them to actually turn him down, I know, Rob, you said that you loved the fact that they turned him down, like that Taz was getting in his face and whatnot, but, I mean, and that was good TV. But I think if they didn't actually sign him to a contract, they had some problems because he was so much better than Alex Silva. On the mic, in the ring, he actually had a character. I mean...
Yeah, but the problem is, this is professional wrestling, and it's not all about how good you are. You have a specific assignment. When you are fighting the X Division champion for your tryout match, your job is to make the X Division champion look good. Your job is to make him at least look like he intimidates you a little bit. He fought Austin Aries as if Austin Aries was some nobody. And when you do that, you're directly hurting TNA, and you're directly taking a shot at the X Division title. It's like I said, it worked well. I liked I liked the character. I liked the way Joey Ryan did things. But at the same point in time, I hope it was worth it to one-up Taz and to one-up Austin Aries, because I wouldn't be surprised if that did cost him a job because he didn't do the bigger assignment that TNA wants him to do.
I completely agree. Alex Silva was... Well, it wasn't as good, nowhere near as good, but we had a report last week saying Alex Silva was supposed to lose gut check, right. And Ric Flair went off script and eventually changed his mind, yeah. But it does, besides that, the gut check's whole concept itself for me, still doesn't work. It has some massive flaws, and I think this is why we're debating it. We wouldn't be, with Taz, shouting effectively him down and saying no. What is promo and what is reality? They've got this massive, massive issue of what is real and what we need to believe with gut check. It doesn't make sense.
I can see that. It does seem to have a little bit of an identity crisis as to which side of the curtain it really wants to be on. But I think that was something you guys did cover in that last episode. Right, Rob?
Yes, we covered that. And to me, I kind of like the fact that each episode of Gut Check has people asking, well, did this really happen? Did this, was this scripted? Was it not? I think anytime you've got fans asking that question, you're doing something right as far as pro wrestling goes. Because the big stigma that pro wrestling has had for decades now is that, well, it's all fake.
Yeah, I'd agree with it to an extent. It can be very confusing, but I suppose it's only confusing to people, well, like us as such, and it will be to the public would just kind of see it as, well, as you said, if you don't know if it's real, it's going to draw.
Right. Good call. So, moving on, Pecker Decker, Harrison's favorite username, said that Hulk Hogan has said Garrett Bischoff is the future of TNA. Doesn't this prove TNA is struggling if Bischoff is the best they have on their roster? I mean, Garrett Bischoff, if Hogan said that, which I believe I did read that he did say that, if he's the future of TNA, it doesn't mean that TNA is struggling. It just says that he's the future. He's got a long way to go before he hits that mark, right?
Yeah, I mean, the problem is you can have more than one person who's the future of the company. Wrestling companies do this all the time. They point to a couple of young people and they say, well, keep an eye on this guy. He's going to be the future of the company. He's going to be one of the guys that carries us forward. Wrestling companies need those kind of guys. And, Garrett Bischoff needs a lot of work, yeah, but, he's not the worst rookie I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, you could almost say Heath Slater's up there. Hello. I'm kidding, Heath, if you're listening to the show. Send us money. So
if you can spare any.
No, not like his contract pays him enough now. No.
You never know. I mean, he can double as the Wendy's girl. Pecker Decker does continue on saying, why does Triple H always seem to get involved with the most popular wrestlers and then beat that popular star? Why has Triple H gotten involved with Lesnar? And do the fans really want to see a ponytailed Triple H? This is not 2001, it's 2012.
There's a very, very obvious answer to that, and the word politics comes to mind. We all know Triple H likes to be in that main event spot. We all know Triple H does draw, but I think that's more down to politics than it is actual storylines.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that one. I think that Triple H, I mean, it's politics because, well, he's the boss's son at this point, After Shane left, somebody needed to fill that role. And Triple H has just had to try and own it. And he pretty much, you can't deny that when Vince is finally done and retired, which will probably be when he dies, he's the kind of guy who's going to work till he's dead.
Absolutely.
Triple H is going to be the one running company.
Yeah, it won't be anyone else but Triple H.
So, I mean, I can see, in the future, Triple H will be as old as Vince McMahon trying to give people the pedigree. It's going to happen.
God damn it!
Breaking a quad all the way down.
Dragon 61 Rider said that they're making Raw 3 hours permanently, which will suck now that half of their stars are injured and the other half are suspended or just out. And after Slammiversary 10, TNA is now a lot better than the WWE, and it has been for a while. Agree, disagree, rebuttal?
I agree with that. I think we've covered this on past shows. TNA has been putting out really strong product lately. They've really started to solidify and do some of the things that they need to do to turn the company around. And the WWE's been just kind of treading water lately.
Lee?
Yeah, I'd agree that TNA has been better than WWE for a while, but again, it comes down to ratings and what they're doing. And TNA, obviously, they're only 2 weeks into the live show, but they've not gone past the one market as such. If you know what ratings are on about, but the product-wise, TNA have absolutely knocked WWE out of the park because WWE have a clear lack of direction right now. But yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah, I would say that this is TNA's time to pounce, to try and gain some more of that audience. Are they going to overtake the audience, WWE with the audience? No, WWE is still going to hold on to a majority of it. Let's not kid ourselves. But to get a good TNA product in front of people who are languishing after watching WWE, this is their time to make a move and draw more, to draw more people into their audience.
They can take a market out of WWE at the minute. If they keep going like they are doing and keep booking people right, they will. They should.
Right. And my problem with this too, and I tell people this all the time when they try to say, well, how can TNA compete with the WWE, this, that, and the other thing? TNA doesn't have to compete with the WWE. They just have to present an alternative. And I think TNA is finally starting to get that message. Hey, we don't have to make the mistake WCW tried to make and try to end the WWE. We just have to make sure our product is strong enough to last, to get viewership, and present a viable alternative. We don't have to try to knock the WWE out.
I guess my thought on it is, I agree with all that, but I think that making Raw 3 hours is a problem. Only because you have a 3-hour pay-per-view. So essentially you're trying to, in my opinion, they're trying to emulate a pay-per-view every week. It's not working, especially when you have the injuries to the roster and the lack of depth. You have the bodies, you just don't have the depth.
A massive, massive problem with these 3-hour Raws is going to be the tempo of the show. The tempo, it showed yesterday. The tempo of the show, by the third hour, you are just like, oh my Lord, come on. It starts to go down. And besides that, they're getting ad revenue out of it, but it's not, in the end, unless, of course, they change my mind, which I hope they do, it will not be worth it, and it will hurt WWE for going 3 hours.
I was sitting on my couch, and I'm like, okay, the missus went off to bed, and she's like, tell me what happens. Like, all right. So I'm sitting there, and John Cena comes out, and I woke myself up snoring. I caught the whole promo, but I was like, oh, shit. Oh, yeah. Oh, shit. 3 times. 3 freaking times. Yeah, their pacing was just horrible.
The one thing that saved them last night was Vader. When Vader came back, everyone just went, what? And just, glued to the TV for 5-10 minutes.
Yeah. I decided, because I was doing stuff around the house during Raw, with upcoming Father's Day and whatnot. I got to clean the house, have the dads over, yada, yada, yada. And I'm sitting there going, okay, I catch a little bit. I'm not going to tweet this Raw. I'm just not. But when Vader came out, I'm like, motherfucking Vader! I'm like, it's cool to see him when he's not on Boy Meets World. I enjoyed seeing Vader back in the ring. That was really cool. From the chat, they say, think about it. WWE must rehire old superstars in order to make 3 hours with all these injured and suspended people. I wouldn't be surprised if Morrison came back. That's a possibility, and I even made the comment then, I'm like, it's awesome to see Vader. But it just goes to show that they don't have the depth, that they got to rely on old talent to make something interesting on TV.
It'll be interesting to see if they carry it on after the 1000th episode, because I know that they're planning to bring a legend back every week until then. But if they do it after then as well, especially if they've still got all these injured superstars, with Morrison though, I know Morrison's got quite a few indies booked until around December. So unless of course they do a one-time deal, but
yeah, I see them picking up maybe even trying to pick up some. Hell, you could even pick up, let's say, go pick around Ring of Honor, see who's low on, who's getting ready for a contract expiration. I don't know. There's a lot of guys. WWE's looking. He's got CM Punk. You got Daniel Bryan. They might actually be looking at a lot more Ring of Honor talent, knowing those guys came from there.
it's a bit of a kick in the teeth, really. Cause, them two guys came from Ring of Honor, but secretly Vince must be thinking, damn, because we all knew WWE had they didn't like Ring of Honor until I think it was about 5-6 years ago. Until then, they were just another promotion.
Yeah, but it's kind of like ECW. I mean, ECW was just another promotion. Yeah, they had their own little niche. They were just, they pushed themselves to be essentially number 3.
The one thing they had help with there, I won't go into it in detail, but of course Vince was paying a sort of ECW to not keep it alive, but keep it running as such and helping with that. Yeah,
but I mean, at least he saw a viable option in that as opposed to, a full-on competitor. They were able to work together to an extent, which was cool to help really move on.
Yeah.
They'll move the company to a new step. Speaking of moving on, we're going to go to the next question. Ross O'Mac stated about our pay-per-view pre-show, "It's so refreshing to hear a wrestling talk show that doesn't bash the industry or for the sake of it. I feel that Jeff Hardy will have a big title win at Bound for Glory, as they will go with the rise from rock bottom for the rock bottom type angle."
Yeah, except that he didn't do the rise from rock bottom.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah,
I've said numerous times I would be a much bigger fan of Jeff Hardy if that's the way TNA did it. Like, okay, you fucked us over as a company, we're going to give you that chance, but we want to really make a storyline out of this and have you work your way up from the bottom of our roster all the way up to the top. I would be a much bigger fan of Jeff Hardy if they would do that. And I think it would help Jeff Hardy out and make him even bigger than he is now if they did that. And it's a shame that TNA missed that opening.
Yeah, I'd completely agree with Rob. There's not really much more to add to that. The problem is, we saw it at the Slammiversary, Jeff Hardy, Mr. Anderson, it's getting a bit... It could do with refreshing a little bit, to be completely honest.
Yeah, it's stale. The Jeff Hardy, they can keep going back and forth, but they've already done it. They're still doing it. What's left?
It's the name in it, Jeff Hardy, Mr. Anderson. It's the name that people will recognise and they'll keep using them, but they need to be sorted out.
Right. I definitely agree with you guys on that. Arkline Fall asked us, "Why are you guys so high on the Joseph Park Bully Ray feud? Bully Ray is a good heel, but I knew this would be a terrible match, and it was. Park oversold everything and acted like a complete moron. You don't have to be a wrestler to know how to hold a chair. I just thought the whole thing was silly. I was in the crowd, and for the most part, the crowd was bored, although they tried to will it forward."
You know what? I'm going to disagree with that. Because the feud is probably the TNA's best thing. We said it on this program many a time. It is the best feud going, and Bully Ray plays his character so well, and so does Joseph Park. To be fair, we all knew what would happen on Sunday. We all knew that Abyss would probably come in at some point. And to be fair, it wasn't the greatest of matches. No, it wasn't a proper match, but it was what was needed for the feud to continue.
Right. We knew it was going to be a bad match because whenever you've got somebody playing a character that's not a pro wrestler, it's not going to be a good match because, hey, you're playing a character that's not a pro wrestler, which means you have to fit into the box of not being a pro wrestler.
Yeah, I think it was just that it came so unexpected. We weren't expecting Abyss to be able to change his character and do it so well, knowing how kind of stale and terrible Abyss was. So I think that's a big part of it too.
Yeah,
I'm waiting for him to in the future also do a Penn Jillette gimmick, only because they look so much alike.
Yes.
Sorry.
Oh man.
But at the same point in time, I think Abyss really did a good job in this feud because he showed some acting ability. It's a real easy character to play the monster that just destroys everything in his path. That's an easy character to play. But it's like I've said a couple of times, when you step out of that box and you say, okay, I'm going to play a character who's not a pro wrestler, you have to change everything about yourself, from how you get into the ring, to how you walk, to how you act.
All your timing.
Yeah, all of your timing. I mean, you have to change everything. And I think he did a really good job of doing that. Yes, the match was not the best match, but it did what it needed to do to move the storyline and the feud forward.
I completely agree with you, sir.
Yeah.
All right, so OSW Review on Facebook says, good job with the potty, meaning the podcast, not the toilet. Keep it clean, folks. I know this is WWE's low period, but they're booking it like nobody's watching as well, treating us like absolute dirt. They deserve all the low ratings they get. I'm going to just say it right now. I agree. I mean, this is a pretty low point, but this is where they really need to flip the switch on some of the younger guys. And I think we're starting to see that due to, accidents. But we'll get into that, I guess, when we review SmackDown and Raw. But younger guys are starting to come up, but to push more younger guys, that's what they need to be doing right now to really give their roster some depth.
Yeah, they've tried to push some of the younger guys since WrestleMania, but you've got Sandow coming through. Hell, Ryback's not young, but he's changed his gimmick around. I think another thing with this, with the whole us thinking we're complete idiots, and it was stated in an interview last week by a former WWE writer, Vince doesn't really care about continuity. If it happens, it happens. And as well as that, WWE's got to really sort out their demographic, because we've got some, people like us who are, fairly intelligent fans, fairly. And then you've got kids watching, who, probably won't care if something goes wrong like that. The shows, go from, internet fans, then the next show is focused on kids with silly John Cena promos. They've got to sort it out.
Well, I think one of the main problems with continuity, too, and Vince McMahon has shown this a lot of times, he doesn't give a shit what the fans think.
Yeah.
Now that he has no major competitor, he knows that wrestling fans are going to tune in every week, regardless of what he gives them. So he's could give a shit.
There's got to be some kind of massive impact, and it probably won't happen this year or probably anytime soon. That really wakes up the WWE in terms of whether it's TNA getting a hell of a lot better ratings or something else to come along and sit and WWE's ratings shoot down completely. There needs to be something that WWE need to build on.
Well, if there's no other comments on that, let's jump right into Impact Wrestling. Rob?
As far as Impact went, it was a pretty good episode, considering that it was the episode before Slammiversary. Match-wise, not all that big. It was segment-heavy, building up for the pay-per-view, which I don't mind. But we had some good matches. Crimson and Austin Aries, I thought was a pretty good match until Samoa Joe came out and ruined it, which set up Samoa Joe versus Austin Aries at the pay-per-view. And also didn't hurt Austin Aries too much when he lost the match. The Knockouts number one contenders match I thought was pretty good. Brooke Tessmacher, Mickie James, Tara, and Velvet Sky all fighting amongst each other to see who got the shot at Gail Kim. That was a really solid match, actually. I like the way that went. It got a little bit sloppy near the end, but all in all, it did what it needed to do.
On that one, Rob, I know we've talked previously about Miss Tessmacher and her abilities in the ring, and it's been said that she's really sloppy, and she didn't really deserve a shot at Gail. And we've said that in the past. Do you think did that match prove that she's gotten better?
Yeah, I mean, she's making improvement. Every time she steps in the ring, I see her get a little bit better. To me, I've also noticed that how botchy she is depends on who she's in the ring with. For some reason, when her and Velvet Sky have matches together, those matches are a bit sloppier, and I really can't tell if it's Brooke Tessmacher or whether it's Velvet. It would be odd because Velvet's an incredibly talented wrestler. She was very talented in the Indies before she came to TNA. But, at the same point in time, it's just an observation that I made that Brooke Tessmacher and Velvet Sky, for one reason or another, don't seem to match up well against each other.
I'd go with that. Tessmacher, I think there's something up with Tessmacher's communication in the ring, actually, because in the Impact match was quite good. But the pay-per-view match and the Impact match, actually, they both had little glitches here and there where moves went off, and there was a couple of sloppy spots that they kind of just looked at each other and just went, carry on.
Yeah.
I think there's something up there.
The communicate, you could be right on there, because she doesn't make a true mistake. It's like she's just like half a second off.
Yeah.
So you could be. You could definitely have a point there, Lee, that it's a communication issue. She just hasn't gotten down how to communicate what is going on, or get communication from the other wrestler as to what's going on.
I'll give it that they want to, you can see they're working hard, and you can see that they're trying to put on a good match. But, 0.5 seconds is a hell of a long time when TV's rolling, and you can see that little inch of nervousness.
Yeah, the chat is saying that Velvet should have gotten the shot, and she should have gotten the shot instead of Assmacher. Do you guys think it's fine with Tessmacher getting the match, or do you think that Velvet really should have had it?
Truthfully, I can see it. I can see either way. I mean, they set it up. With Tessmacher getting the win, they set it up. They've got somebody from Texas fighting in Slammiversary taking place in Texas. It's the first time that they've been there to Texas for a live event. I can see why TNA would decide to use that to push Tessmacher forward. But at the same point in time, I think Velvet Sky deserves a serious run as women's champion, and I've thought that for a while. So I hope that now that Tessmacher's gotten the title, at some point in time they put the Knockouts title back on Velvet Sky and give her a serious run.
So it's a very good point. I didn't realize until now Tessmacher from Texas, so they fit it in with the pay-per-view. Because before Impact, I was hoping she wouldn't get another shot just because of the sloppiness in the ring. I was going for Velvet Sky, but I think it looks like they're taking her in another direction for the meantime. I wouldn't mind if Mickie James went in there either and won it, but well, I don't want to see her as champion. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, she's a good wrestler, but she had her lengthy run, and it didn't seem to be all that entertaining.
True.
So,
well, I like the fact that in the 4-way title match that Mickie James is changing her moveset up a little bit. I love that she used the Mick kick, which I've always thought was her best finisher. And hey, she managed to do her Lou Thez press off the turnbuckle without injuring herself this time. So. Bonus to Mickie James for that.
1 out of every 100 ain't bad.
Yeah, right.
So, moving on in Impact, Devon, what'd he do?
Robbie.
Yes. I don't know. I am getting so tired of these two fighting each other. Yeah. Mostly because TNA's really not doing anything to push the feud. I mean, you're just seeing it all in the ring. You're not seeing segments. You're not really seeing promos or anything from these guys. You're not seeing much to give me a feud. You're not. The way it's structured to me is it's basically like TNA is pulling a UFC here. They're just going to keep giving Robbie E shots at the title until he finally wins it.
Robbie should and will not win that title. The only person I can see who's benefiting from these Devon and Robbie E matches, well, last on Impact anyway, was probably Garrett Bischoff, just for even getting exposure. Because we know what we've seen that match so many times. We don't want to see it again, and it's getting it's like repetitive.
The chat's saying they agree, they want more promos, and the question is now raised: if they're not giving us a reason to care, why should we?
Yeah, that's a damn good point, and That's why I don't care about this feud actually, because I don't have a reason to. There's no connection, there's nothing about this feud that reaches out to me and says I should root for one guy or the other.
Fair enough. And the main event, let's burn through that and let's jump into Slammiversary, Rob.
Main event was actually pretty good. I like the way they did it, with AJ Styles looking like he had blown the show off and everything. Really drove the whole AJ Styles storyline forward a bit. Was a solid match, and you've got Sting, AJ Styles, and Kurt Angle coming back and getting the win in the end. So all in all, these guys did what they needed to do.
I'm going to disagree with that. I didn't like I like the match. I just didn't like the booking. Like, Rude, you know, he lost his thing last week. I can see, obviously, from Slammiversary where they went with this, but it makes Rude look like just... He doesn't add anything to him. He's the champion. It's like he's just losing. Then, of course, when the win comes, like, oh, well, cheap win. It didn't look good to me with Rude.
No, I can see that.
All right, so Slammiversary, gentlemen. A pretty thick-looking card with all the matches. A lot of them weren't seemingly announced, it didn't seem, until Impact. Before we get into breaking it down, I want to congratulate Rob. Every pay-per-view, we sit here and we predict who's going to win what. Nobody ever gets a perfect score. Maybe once, twice. Rob, this card came out of nowhere, and you were just like, you made it your bitch. You got a fucking perfect score.
I don't know how you did that.
Yeah. like Joe said, you know, I can think of one other pay-per-view. I think it was a WWE pay-per-view where I got a perfect score. But I really have no idea how I did it either. So thank you guys for the congratulations. I figured I just had to live up to my name of Mr. TNA at some point in time.
Alrighty. So, Joseph Park beat Bully Ray. What the hell, guys? No? Nothing?
Well,
please, Mr. TNA, please.
That worked. That worked. Picked Joseph Park to win because I thought Abyss was going to get involved during the match and lead to Joseph Park winning. And lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. It's almost like I work for TNA booking or something.
Well, that's what you're doing for a day job nowadays. Well, I'm so glad we don't have money riding on our pay-per-view predictions.
I kind of like it though, because with Joseph Park winning, it leaves a lot of room to continue the feud, and then even push the feud forward with Bully Ray and Abyss coming back too. So, to me, this makes sense in an odd sort of way.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense with especially when Abyss came out. As soon as it comes out, you know the feud's going to carry on. I suppose there's two ways of looking at it. If what happened, you know, with Abyss coming out and Joseph Park winning, and if you like the feud, then you'll be very happy. If you don't like the feud and you see Abyss come out, you're going to be like, Jesus, no, don't carry it on, no, stop. But I think they made the right call. I liked it.
Yeah, it's amazing how fast Joseph Park can change his clothes underneath that ring, huh?
That was not him. If that was him.
I've heard some rumors about this. I've heard some people say that it was Crimson dressed up as Abyss, but there's no way he could change clothes that quickly. I'd like to know who it was that was actually playing Abyss during this match.
Could it have been Samoa Joe?
No.
No, okay.
Samoa Joe's just a little too short.
The rumor that I read was that it was someone from OVW. I don't remember the name offhand, so.
Okay, that could work too.
There you go. Not a hard way to get somebody new in the role. And hell, I mean, if they need to have Abyss on TV, as long as he's not talking and they use a little bit further away angles, somebody else could be playing Abyss and have Joseph Park on screen.
Yeah.
Moving on, the X Division Championship, Samoa Joe was beat by Austin Aries. Austin Aries retains.
Yeah, I'm going to put it out right now. I did not care who won that match. It was brilliant, and it was probably one of the best starts to a pay-per-view I have seen in years. It was fantastic.
I completely agree with Lee. I mean, this match was amazing. I mean, Samoa Joe, Austin Aries, these two put on probably the best X Division. This match is going to be a match of the year candidate. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I mean, Samoa Joe and Austin Aries showed that they either are or have the potential to be two of the top guys in TNA.
It's the first time Joe has really performed like he did in a long time as well. It was was super fast. I can't describe how much they needed that to kick off the pay-per-view. It really, really set the tone.
Yeah, and it's like you said. I mean, we finally saw Samoa Joe, just get back into it and just, I mean, from the time he walked out, he just had that look on his face like, fuck it, I'm going to show you assholes why I'm one of the best people in this company. And, hell, he went out and did.
The chat saying nobody cared who won that match. I'm assuming just because it was that damn good.
It was.
It really was.
And moving on to the hey, remember these guys match? Kid Cash versus Hernandez. Hernandez picks up the win.
Yeah, that actually reminds me. I forgot that that Tessmacher is not the only person from Texas. I think Hernandez is also originally from Texas. So
I think you're right.
But these two put on a good match too. I mean, Kid Cash. These two really surprised me because I saw this. I'm like, okay, well, this is going to be a down match. Those two really beat the piss out of each other, and Kid Cash showed that he could stand up to somebody much bigger than he was. I mean, I was really impressed by what these guys did.
I want to know, is Kid Cash going to just drop the kid part and just call himself Cash? How old is he now? You can't call yourself Kid.
Yeah. He's definitely old. He's definitely old enough where he can't legitimately be called a kid anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is 42. Thing that should be noted, Hernandez got a huge pop too. Like the crowd was completely behind Hernandez, which is surprising because we could care less about this match. At least in the pre-show conversation. So it was definitely good to see that type of backing for him because we haven't seen that in the Impact Zone forever.
It was a nice come down match from the Epic opener, but I'm actually going to say I think Kid Cash looked a little bit sloppy to me. I don't know. There was just a couple of moves that were off a little bit, but it was an alright match for you.
Okay.
Sweet.
I had a low bar for it coming in, so that might be why it impressed me as much.
True.
But
no.
I'm not going to say your argument is not without merit either.
I was going to say, to be fair, that's probably the least of concerns on the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Moving on, Devon and Garrett Bischoff beat the Robbies.
Yes, they did.
That was not hard to predict.
No, it wasn't. And it was about an average match. I mean, it was better than it was a little bit better than I thought it would be, but compared to the rest of the matches on the card, it didn't really stand out.
No, it didn't. With the whole Madison Rain angle, by the way, who it is. Just for the record, every time she's come out, Earl Hebner has been in that ring refereeing.
I noticed the same thing.
If it is that, it would be absolutely typical TNA. It's probably not, but if it is, it would make me laugh. So,
at the same time, I could see that as well because every time that she's had a match, it's usually with Earl Hebner, and she spends half the match hitting on Earl Hebner. So it's not that secretive, I guess.
I suppose so.
Yeah.
Sorry, back onto the match. The match was alright. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so the match was okay. Nobody really has a strong standout point from that one. Mr. Anderson beating Jeff Hardy and Rob Van Dam. So it looks like Anderson is going on to face the World Heavyweight Champion at Impact.
Indeed. And, I know we talked about this a lot on the preview show about how tired we were of these three, about this and that. But, when I saw these three come out, I couldn't get over the fact that, all three of these guys get tremendous crowd reaction. And based on that alone, I can see why TNA continues to push them. I mean, these three can go out and get a crowd reaction.
At the same time, they finally delivered.
Yes, they finally had a good match. I mean, the only real move the only real mistakes that stood out to me in this one was, Anderson and Hardy trying for the, counter neckbreaker thing, which doesn't work because halfway through Anderson lets go of you and expects people to still believe he actually delivered the neckbreaker when he takes him down. And Jeff Hardy still hasn't figured out how to properly execute the twist of fate, which kind of sucks because it's his own move.
No, it's his brother's move. Let's be honest here.
Yeah, that's true. It's his brother's move, but it still, you should know how to do it. It's not that complicated to move. And yet he never hits that thing right.
I'll give credit where credit's due for these three. No one really cared about the match, and I'm pretty surprised Mr. Anderson won, actually. But it wasn't the normal triple threat match that we see, with two people going on to one and then blah, 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 then eventually they both turn on each other. It wasn't that. They made it really fresh. They didn't, they went around the ring. They made them their own man, and it was good. It was really good.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll jump on over to James Storm beating Crimson. The returning James Storm.
God, I marked out so hard when I heard sorry about your damn luck. I'm like, yes! Oh, I marked out so hard for this, and I'm not ashamed to admit it.
I was really surprised at the time they brought him back this way, but the more you think about it, the more it makes sense. And Crimson's unbeaten streak, you just knew it was going to, as soon as he came out, you knew it was going to be finished. And yeah. I don't think you could have picked a better person when you think about it to end it than James Storm. It gives him momentum, and no doubt he's going to go for Bobby Roode.
Yeah, but what does that do to Crimson? I mean, it was a 2-minute squash match.
I don't give a shit what it does to Crimson.
Yeah, but if you push him for like 480 days, you expect that they were actually going to do something with it.
I'm not sure how well his unbeaten streak really caught on, because it was getting more and more ridiculous, as we went along.
Yeah, it wasn't like Goldberg, where Goldberg would be like definitively beating people like Ryback does.
Yeah.
It's I'm going to weasel my way out. I'm going to take the pussy way out.
Well,
I'm take the Harrison way out. It's this kind of thing that it just really hurts the unbeaten streak.
Yeah, WCW would throw Goldberg into gauntlet matches. They throw him into like 3 or 4 person matches. They had, I remember a match off the top of my head where Goldberg took on, I think it was like a gauntlet match setup where he took on all of Raven's flock and then Raven himself, and Goldberg just beat them all. That gets over with the fans. But when you're fighting tag team matches, when you're when you fight maybe once or twice a month, and then you try to push unbeaten, people don't buy it because they know it's bullshit. Yeah. Goldberg was out there almost every week defending his unbeaten streak. So,
yeah. Did anyone else notice that the reference? I know it's going back to Impact, but they referenced Goldberg in the promo on Impact.
Yeah, the Crimson name dropped Goldberg.
What a dumb move that was.
Yeah.
It's almost as bad as telling people that Mick Foley's going to win the WWE title.
Oh, yeah, that'll put asses in the seats. Thank you, Tony Schiavone, for putting a nail in WCW's coffin.
So bringing back the booty, Miss Tessmacher beats Gail Kim for the Knockouts Championship.
I liked it because, we talked about on the pre-show that, one of these long-reigning champions had to lose the belt, and I figured Gail Kim was the most likely suspect, especially with Brooke Tessmacher being from Texas. And Gail Kim and Brooke Tessmacher, they put on a good match. I mean, there were some mistakes there, but overall it was a good match. And, I really love the way Brooke won the match, and then they gave her a little promo time on the mic afterwards, which really pumped the crowd up because she went all Texas on them, and it really did a good job.
She can go Texas on me anytime.
I have to be honest. I didn't think it was that great a match. I thought it was good, but it wasn't as good as it could have been. And I actually think at that point, they kind of because of course just before that was Sting, it went a bit down and such. You were getting the impression it was like, well, we had the opening match and nothing else has really been able to compete with it. Is it going to be one of those pay-per-views where they start well and then they just go downhill? But I don't know. It could have been better, I thought. But again, the interview bit of the afterwards was a good idea. Now, because she's from Texas, it really pumped the crowd up, as she said.
Right. It's nice to hear Brooke Tessmacher actually on the mic, because that's been one of my key criticisms of her too, is that we don't really see her on the mic that often, and if you're going to be a champion, sooner or later you got to get on the mic.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Chad's saying that they think Velvet will wind up turning heel and taking the belt from Tessmacher for stealing her shot at Gail Kim. Do you guys think that's a valid storyline? Do you think that's going to happen, or do you think that the chat's talking out of their ass?
I think that I think if any face knockout is going to turn heel, I would put money on Mickie James turning heel because of the glare she gave Velvet Sky when Brooke Hogan went on about how Velvet had been picked for a country music video with Montgomery Gentry, and that pissed Mickie James off. I mean, she was pissed off, no doubt about it. So if any knockout turned heel, I would bet that it would be Mickie James first. But I could see Velvet turning heel and trying to feud with Brooke Tessmacher. It might work. Personally, I would keep Velvet face for right now.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. I also tend to think that Gail Kim will probably want a shot straight away, and I hope she doesn't win it back after that. But yeah, I see Mickie James turning more. Yeah, when you think about it.
I would love to see Mickie as a heel again, especially since her best heel work, I think, was when she was going against Trish Stratus in WWE. But, I mean, that also involves the crotch grab that Mickie did on Trish, and then licking her fingers.
She had some good heel work her first tenure in TNA, too. I went back and actually found some footage. She was
Alexis Lurie.
Yeah, aligned with Raven. She had a backstage match where she beat the piss out of Jeff Jarrett, which, hey, anytime Jeff Jarrett is getting his ass kicked, it's a good day in my book.
Especially when it's by a woman.
Exactly.
Just to move on here, Sting was inducted into the TNA Hall of Fame. How do you guys feel about Sting being the first inductee? Do you think that somebody else could have fit the role better? If so, who would you have picked? Or do you think Sting is a solid first man into the Hall of Fame?
I think Sting's a solid first man into the Hall of Fame. I mean, like they said, Sting really helped propel TNA to a national brand. He really helped out in a lot of different ways, from helping the younger guys in the back, giving them tips and stuff that he'd learned, working with them. Sting's made a number of contributions, and I think he's a solid first pick. At the other end of the spectrum, though, Sting being the first inductee into the Hall of Fame kind of telegraphs to me that probably this year is probably Sting's last year as an active wrestler.
Yeah, I'm starting to think that because he tweeted something like, "Makes me wonder how much time I've got," or something along those lines. So yeah, I completely agree. It's his last year. It's a solid pick. It's a safe pick. I think TNA have kind of gone for. I would have really loved to have seen AJ Styles straight in there, just because he's been there from the start. He is a TNA original. Sting, yes, he's been there quite a long time. He has done wonders for him. I would have preferred AJ, but Sting's a safe bet. I mean, you can damn well bet that AJ will go in at some point.
Oh yeah, AJ Styles is a surefire bet.
AJ's in as soon as he decides he's retiring. Let's just be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
The chat is saying that AJ should have been the first one. Storyline be damned, Sting could have been second. They're also saying bullshit, Jeff Jarrett or Shamrock or AJ. My only bitch is I could see Jeff Jarrett going in. I could see Shamrock going in. My only bitch about AJ would be, because I think all those are better than Sting, only because Sting is still wrestling, and that's my only reason for not wanting to put AJ in there yet, is that he's still wrestling.
Right,
Yeah,
and that's why I say don't put AJ in as the first pick, because I'm really against having an active wrestler as a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, and even later on in the night, I think TNA handled it really well when they introduced Sting. They said, he's going to be the first inductee into the TNA Hall of Fame. They didn't introduce him as a Hall of Famer already.
I bet they'll take every moment they can, though, to say that going forward.
Oh, I'm sure.
Do you think it's a bit ominous they didn't mention Jeff Jarrett an awful lot during the pay-per-view either?
Well, personally, I don't see where Jeff Jarrett has done much to deserve being in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, technically he founded the company, but he needed Dixie Carter's money to do it. He needed his father's connections. It's not like Jeff Jarrett did it all by himself.
Yeah,
and Jeff Jarrett has never really been that solid of a wrestler.
Yeah, I've not really liked Jeff Jarrett a lot.
Okay.
I think he'll be in there at some point, and since he is listed as the founder of TNA, he should be in there at some point. I just don't see him as the first pick.
Fair enough. Moving on, we've only got 2 more matches. The World Tag Team Championship. AJ Styles and Kurt Angle beat Daniels and Kazarian.
Jesus H fucking Christ, this was the best match of the night.
Yeah, my God.
Or it had the best moment of the night. I'll refrain it. AJ Styles slid under the fucking guardrail. I don't know how many times I looked at that and the replay of that and how the fuck did he do that? That if there is anybody who argues AJ Styles being in the Hall of Fame, he slid under the fucking guardrail.
He's skinny. He should be inducted into the Hall of Fame.
No, that's more than being skinny.
I've got to say, it was the best match of the night. I cannot believe how it topped after the X Division match. But I've got to say, the wrong team won. Overall, yeah, fair enough. The pay-per-view is the big chance. And I understand why they won. But if you're looking for storyline-wise, if you just step back a little bit, it really should have been Daniels and Kaz who went over, because it doesn't really make much sense for Angle and AJ to win, in my opinion.
The only thing that does is it angers Daniels and Kazarian to really push them for the next step in the Daniels, Kazarian, AJ, Dixie story.
The other reason why they may have won is because Sting didn't win the main event as well. That's the only other reason I would put on it.
Send the fans home semi-happy?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it was. Sting lost the title, so to keep the crowd semi-happy, they did that. And there are some storyline things you can do with that. I'm with you, Lee. I actually thought, even though I picked AJ Styles and Angle to win, I actually thought that Daniels and Kazarian should win, because I don't want the tag team titles, being passed around like a hot potato. Garvin made that point, and I thought he had a great point with it. You should keep, you should avoid titles passing from one guy to the other, to the other, to the other, really quickly anytime you can.
Completely agree. And since you guys, chat saying tag team title. Do a tag team title match in Ultimate X.
Oh.
Now we're talking.
Yes.
I think I got a little bit of a chub on that one. So there you go. And since you guys spoiled it, the World Heavyweight Championship, Bobby Roode beat Sting.
Sorry.
Whatever.
Sorry.
The show's already a debacle. We're an hour in. We haven't even gotten to SmackDown.
Yeah.
Any points to bring out of the World Championship match?
Yeah, it was crap. I'm sorry. It was really, really good pay-per-view, but that match spoiled everything. It didn't ruin the pay-per-view, but it spoiled the way they were going. Why did they have to finish with such a stupid thing like that? Oh, it really angered me because they'd done everything right all night. Well, mostly everything right all night, and then they finished with a typical classic TNA style finish. It really annoyed me.
I gotta agree with that. I thought the match itself was pretty good. Not up to what Roode and Sting could deliver, but it was just the ending. Just, and the crowd knew what was going to happen too. I mean, they're shouting, watch the beer, look out for the beer. The crowd knew what was coming, and it was just god awful.
It was awful. It does raise an...
Hello? Did we lose Lee there? I think we did.
I think we did.
Well, anyway, fucking Skype. Yep, there's a problem with the call. So we're just gonna move on. Jumping over to SmackDown. Alrighty. Alberto Del Rio beat the Great Khali via submission, but he took quite the knock on the head. It was a decent match for Khali. I mean, on the Khali scale. Brodus Clay beat Derek Bateman. Are we surprised? No. Sin Cara beat Drew McIntyre. You don't remember Drew McIntyre, who was supposedly fired? Yeah, Drew McIntyre, who's still working. Let's see. Ryback beat a couple more jobbers. Christian beat Dolph Ziggler in a non-title match. Antonio Cesaro beat Jimmy Uso. It was good to see Jimmy Uso in a singles match because while I like him in a tag team match, it's good to see that he can also work a singles match. Sheamus beat Kane by DQ. I think it was a relatively tight show. They had a lot of space to fill, but it was all it's all warm up. I think, in my opinion, for Raw. Jumping over to Raw, we saw Sheamus beat Tensai, which really bummed me out because I was hoping that maybe Tensai might get the push because Alberto Del Rio was removed from his title match against Sheamus due to concussion. As I said, from the Great Khali.
Who doesn't know how to wrestle without killing people?
Oh my god, he doesn't know how to wrestle worth a damn. I'm just, little tiny pepperoni nipples halfway down his chest and shit. Yeah, I just, Tensai, I like watching Tensai. I'm going to say it over and over and over again. What is there to say? But he got beat. Beth Phoenix and Ricardo Rodriguez beat Santino, Marella, and Layla. Beth did that on her own. So Beth beat Santino and Layla.
And how sad is it that Layla, the champion, this is the first time that she's been in the ring in, I don't know, since the last pay-per-view, and this is the match that they gave her as the pretty much the go-home show to the pay-per-view.
Yeah, I don't get it either. I don't understand it. What else? They have a number one contenders match for the world title. Christian versus Khali versus Jack Swagger versus Dolph Ziggler. Who wins? Dolph freaking Ziggler. This is where the young guys are being pushed. For those of you in the chat who are wondering, we didn't touch on it then. I'm touching on it now. Ziggler's getting his shot to show off what he can do. This is his time. The younger guys, they can jump through it too. You can start elevating, getting guys into the picture like Hawkins and Tyler Rex. You can get them into the tag team division. You know, it's just, you can get other guys. You can maybe do something with Heath Slater instead of, you know, having him get beat. Sin Cara beat Kurt Hawkins. You could have done anything on that one. Okay, so let's just jump it all back. Big Show beat Kofi Kingston in the steel cage. Ryback beat some jobbers. So Ryback was on this show too. Sin Cara beat Kurt Hawkins. Fucking Vader beat Heath Slater. Congrats to him for being back on. CM Punk and AJ beat Kane and Daniel Bryan. What the fuck? Let's just say that again. Kane and Daniel Bryan lost to CM Punk and AJ. So essentially, Punk did it all on his own.
Yeah, it was a good story though, I thought.
Yeah, they actually added a new angle to the Daniel Bryan Punk Kane angle, their storyline, with AJ going up to Kane, smiling at him, skipping around him, and he's standing there dumbfounded, like, what the fuck is going on? Like, almost like, I know I'm not supposed to hit a woman, and nobody told me we were going to do this in this match, so what the fuck do I do? And then she leaps on him and just starts making out with him.
For a long time.
Major props to Kane for just standing there and not doing a damn thing and not breaking character.
It was a really, really good little segment to add to the No Way Out match, though, wasn't it? With AJ, she's playing that part so well, and even Kane as well. If you put Kane in the right setting, you know, we've criticised him against Orton, you know, WrestleMania and previous things, but if you put him in the right setting like this, he's playing the part so well. He just sold it. Or even didn't sell it, sold it completely, and it looked so good. It was probably the best segment of the night.
Yeah, I would agree with that, but my bitch is, I was expecting at the pay-per-view that AJ was going to turn on Punk and Bryan. I mean, not that she's really with Bryan, but she actually embraced the hate from being dumped by Daniel Bryan and was actually with Kane. They're taking this in a different angle where it's still possible, but I was really hoping that was going to be the shocker and Kane would walk out with the title.
It's going to be. It looks like Bryan, doesn't it? Because she's been backstage with CM Punk, little case, in the ring with Kane. Is she working with Daniel Bryan? I have a feeling he might go over and get the title with AJ's help.
I can see that too. I mean, I know we're jumping a little bit ahead here on it, on the discussion, but
sorry.
No, it's fine because they have a lot of possibilities with this. She could just still be in bed with, proverbial bed with Punk. You don't know. She could be the master manipulator, and who knows? Maybe she'll be the first WWE champion. I'm kidding. But you never know. They could do some weird twisted storyline right now.
I think you've just said it, haven't you? I mean, it's the most interesting because we don't know where it's going. Like with other segments on Raw, we tend to think, oh well, this is getting a bit predictable. Oh, security, comes out and that happens. It's because it's unpredictable that it is very good, and of course because there's Punk, Bryan, Kane who can all put together a match so easily.
Right. And just to slide in the very end of the show that I kind of slept through, was Vince McMahon. We haven't even touched on the fact that Vince McMahon opened the show to give the performance review to John Laurinaitis. And we close the show just as Vince is about to fire Johnny Ace. Big Show comes out, talks it up, and talks about his ironclad contract and all the hoops that he's had to jump through for Vince McMahon. Flips it on him, talking about how he's tired of being a bitch. Cena comes out, talks some shit. Show goes to punch Cena after Cena's god-awful long monologue. Cena goes low, and Show clocks McMahon and lays him out.
The actual segment, when you say it like that, it was quite well. It was good. The one problem WWE had in terms of selling the pay-per-view was the camera angle, which a lot of people picked up on. The fact the camera angle showed that Big Show, he missed Vince by about 3 inches, and it was so obvious. They only had one angle where it looked like it hit him, which I think really hurt it, because it's like, oh, I completely missed him.
Yeah, but let's be honest. I think the last guy who actually legitimately got to lay a huge blow on Vince McMahon, it wasn't anybody in the WWE now. That was Zach Gowen.
Was it not Orton? Did Orton not punt him?
I don't think he actually connected. I think it was another one of these missed him by 2 or 3 inches things.
It looked better though than what they produced last night.
I would agree with that.
And that's a problem I've noticed with the WWE. The WWE has a lot of instances where their camera angle is either, depending on your point of view, too good for their own good or really bad. And they catch that the wrestlers don't hit each other or are pulling punches or whatnot. And
it's kind of almost like the when Lesnar gave Cena the F5 for the first time since Lesnar's return, where he came out and just F5'd him. The cameraman had no idea what the fuck was going on. They weren't even on the F5 when it happened. They got right before and then right after.
Yeah, I mean, that is one of the WWE's huge weak points. I mean, and by contrast, TNA seems to have great camera work.
I think WWE they've got the best. I think they've got the best production team going, but the whole. I think it's the back that have the issues rather than the actual cameramen, because as we know, Raw's been edited every God only knows how long, and they're kind of going through. When the directors feed into the cameramen, they're only being told what to do. I think the production truck is at fault rather than the cameraman, because I actually think, to be brutally honest, WWE's camera work is 10 times better than TNA's. Just because TNA's tends to look sloppy, but they have some. But I've got to be honest, that angle above the ring jumping down was fantastic as well.
Yeah, and that's my favorite angle from TNA is when they do, that is when they go to the above the ring angle. That really works out well. And you could be right; it could be more a production truck error than it is the actual cameraman. Just the guys in the truck picking the wrong camera at the wrong time.
It's very, very quickly, just because we've seen WWE in the past produce some absolutely fantastic stuff, and they've pretty much been faultless. But yeah, recently it has seemed to be a bit weird.
And speaking of the above the ring shot, that's something that the WWE innovated and perfected. I mean, they were the first ones to really do that.
Yeah, WWE have got a hell of a lot of advantages, because they've also got, this is all very boring stuff, the camera on like the tripod thing when they go up to the arena. When WrestleMania entrances, they have like the camera, when someone enters, like the camera looks very, very still if someone moves it.
Right.
Maybe not. Maybe not, but they have like, it almost looks cinematic the way they do it, and it looks really, really good. It's all very boring stuff.
All right, guys.
Not to nerds like us.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I know we're dragging on a bit now.
Yeah, we're all video geeks. So we're going to move on to Ask FTW, but we're going to do this quick hits style. All right, just so you people know, you can ask us questions by emailing questions at ftwpodcast.com or send us a tweet at ftwpodcast using the hashtag AskFTW and post on our Facebook wall, facebook.com/ftwpodcast. All right, guys, if you are new to the quick hits format, it's 30 seconds per question. If we have extra time, which we probably don't, we'll scream at each other for a while just because it's fun. So, Mr. Lucha Libre came to us on Twitter saying, with Vader coming back and doing well, which former main eventer would you like to see next week? Lee.
Thanks.
I can go to Rob.
Yeah, go to Rob first.
Rob.
I need some time.
Rob.
I don't know. Shit. Fuck it. Bring Piper back.
All right, Rob says Piper. Lee?
I'd probably just stick to the classic and go for probably Stone. I know it's a lot to ask, but Stone Cold. To be brutal.
Me? I'm going to go with the Ultimate Warrior. I want to see his crazy ass come back.
Yeah.
Oh, that could be a funny call, yeah.
Wrestling Times X wrote to us on Twitter asking, anyone agree that Raw and SmackDown need makeovers? When was the last time it had a complete makeover? 2008? WWE is getting too generic looking.
I would absolutely love if they changed the HD set, but because it's HD, I don't think they can change it around an awful lot. But yes, that set is getting very old very, very quickly.
Rob?
I completely agree with Lee. Nothing really more to add.
I think that they could redo the sets, back when Raw and SmackDown had their own sets. It's just really easy now because both sets are exactly the same. It's a lot easier for them to send equipment from one place to another, and they could use the Raw equipment for SmackDown and SmackDown equipment for Raw. All they're doing is changing colors of the ropes. So,
whoever just said that before they redo the sets, they need to redo the music. I could not agree with you more. I'm sorry.
That was Garvin, and I want to say there was a newspaper recently that bitched at that said, "Yeah, Nickelback's playing a show for $45. For $45, you could also get 45 hammers to beat yourself."
Oh yeah, I saw that.
And a lot of other things against Nickelback. Moving on. Styles Clash 10 said, "I just read that Orton's future with the WWE is uncertain. What are the odds a Viper could slither down to Orlando, Florida?" Rob?
No. Please, God, no.
All right, Lee.
There is not a chance in hell. They would not be able to afford him. I don't even think he'd want to bother with TNA.
I think you nailed it, Lee. I think that the paycheck is not there for him. I don't see anywhere else he would go, though. I can't see him going to Japan. I can't see Ring of Honor picking him up.
He'd give up wrestling. He'd go into probably the movie business or something like that. He wouldn't do wrestling if it wasn't WWE.
If they need somebody else to be monotone. I'm Randy Orton. He could be Johnny Ace. Go ahead.
That's just harsh, man. That's not.
The true H-Man says the WWE title also hasn't been in the main event match of a pay-per-view since 2011. How awful is that, Lee?
I'm getting absolutely fed up with WWE doing it. I don't know why John Cena vs. Big Show is over the WWE title. Everyone perfectly agrees WWE title is much more important. It's, well, not to WWE, but I'm getting fed up. I really am getting fed up with WWE doing it. It needs to be main event.
Okay, Rob?
I completely agree with Lee. I think he hit the nail dead on the head.
Yeah, the WWE title should... I understand the one-off thing where it's something extraordinarily huge.
Oh, yeah. Cena Rock, I understand that.
Cena Rock, Cena Lesnar, those were huge. WWE title should be in the main event. If they ever decide to make it as a show opener, someone needs to be shot.
I'd agree with that.
Stephen posted on our Facebook wall. I was wondering if any of you guys think that AJ's crazy chick gimmick was supposed to be meant for Eve. Rob?
Ooh, that's actually a good point. Something I really hadn't thought of. That could very well be, and that could lead to some interesting storylines down the road.
Lee?
Good call. I did not think about that, but it makes perfect sense. Good call.
Yeah, Steven ended up saying that, seeing as how she had the breakdown after Cena humiliated Eve, it could have been the opening. But luckily we get sexy librarian Eve. I can go with that one.
I'll take sexy librarian Eve as a consolation prize.
Yeah,
a consolation prize.
I still think batshit crazy. Mickey James was better.
Yes.
And hotter.
God, that was good.
Yeah, it was. Robert wrote on our Facebook wall, last night in SmackDown, Dolph comes out by himself without Vicky Guerrero. And I began to think, since Paul Heyman is around, what if Dolph and Paul Heyman work together, not Dolph and Ric Flair, if that's possible?
But that would be such a good combination. It will never happen, I'm afraid, but it would be such a good combination. And the sooner he gets rid of Vicky, the better. They're going far too slow on that.
Rob?
Yeah, Lee's, again, dead on with this one. They're going way too slow with it.
I agree they're going way too slow with it, but I don't like Heyman being with Ziggler for the simple fact that Ziggler does not need the mouthpiece. Ziggler's a good enough mouthpiece on his own, especially if they let him run now. He's been doing the YouTube shit. He's been a good talker, so I can see him being by himself. That would really be solid.
That's a good point.
Tony emailed us after last Friday's SmackDown, which involved Brodus Clay, Ryberg, Damian Sandow, Antonio Cesaro, and now the return of Sin Cara. Do you believe that SmackDown's future will only involve squash matches?
Ryberg. No, I think SmackDown has been used as a filler for the meantime, but again, it's down to injuries, down to suspension. The roster has been really thinned out. It will change. It might not change for a little bit, but it will change.
Rob?
Yeah, I mean, the Ryberg thing, it's funny, but eventually they're going to get like what they've done with Tensai and everybody else. They're going to give him more real matches.
See, I'm thinking. I think they're going to basically make SmackDown what they made what they did for WWE ECW. I think that it's going to be the younger guys show at this point. And
it'd be a good idea.
I think it would be a wonderful idea.
It would definitely be a way. I mean, the WWE's been looking for a way to increase ratings and push SmackDown forward. Making it the show for the younger guys would be a great way to do that.
Reinvent what SmackDown is.
Right.
Yes.
So.
Change the theme music.
That's another bad one. I like Green Day, but damn, that's a horrible song to use. Shit.
Do you know the enemy?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, you sound like a little retarded child there.
So does Billy Joe Armstrong. But let's move on. WWE No Way Out. We'll be doing a full No Way Out pay-per-view special this Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern, along with Mike from PWTorch.com. So here's the card as we know it. As we're talking about this, we have a pre-show match of Brodus Clay versus David Otunga. Rob, who are you taking?
Brodus Clay.
Rob's taking Brodus Clay. Lee, who are you taking?
Yeah, Brodus Clay all the way.
Lee's taking Brodus. I'm going to go with Brodus as well. And Garvin?
The same.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much a clean sweep. We're gonna see, Otunga drinking his baby oil coffee and slip up. Heyo. Divas champion Layla versus Beth Phoenix. Who's walking out, Rob?
I think Beth Phoenix. They've got to give Beth Phoenix the title sooner or later, or they just have to bury her and just kill off what little credibility and piece of her gimmick she's got left.
Lee?
Well, this is just like a lucky guess, really. Layla's not been used for 3-4 weeks, comes back randomly. Beth Phoenix, again, done not a lot, pissing around with whoever. You'd have to back Layla just because. Just because.
Yeah, I'm thinking Layla's going to win this one, only because I think they can push more heel women than... I mean, with Kelly being gone, there's no reason to slap it on a heel at the moment. And if Garvin's got any luck, I think Karma might come back.
I don't know if... but one of the things that worries me about picking Layla is she's still got that ankle injury, and that might be why we haven't seen her a lot. I mean, if her injury just isn't healing, then sooner or later you got to get the title off of her.
That's true, but when we say seeing her, I mean like talking or anything, or even, appearing on Raw.
Yeah, right, which she hasn't done. I mean, she's gone weeks without being on Raw.
And she is the Divas champion.
Yeah.
Which brings me back to why I think Beth Phoenix is going to win.
Garvin?
Yeah. You got to think Layla would win, but they've totally failed at doing something productive with the Divas Championship this time around. I mean, at least when the title was on Beth, you got some kind of reaction. And now that Layla's the champion, there is no reaction because there is no activity. But the only reason why I could see Layla keep the title is either A, they start to push her more, just because they haven't had her on TV a lot, or they bring back Karma, which they need to do anyways because I ran out of trades.
So where's your pick, Garvin?
I'm going to go with Layla.
Good call.
Alrighty. Intercontinental Champion Christian against Cody Rhodes. Who's walking out with this one, guys? Rob?
I'm going to say Christian.
Okay. Lee?
I am going to go with Christian as well.
You know, I would love to see this one go back and forth, but I think to cement Christian where he's at, he's going to have to win. But I like the I hate you, but I still respect you in a way thing they've got going on between the two.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I like the storyline that they have going on. I see Christian winning only because now that they have lost so much depth, they can finally push Cody Rhodes up. And I think this is the time to do it. They just gave the title to Christian. It would be a mistake to take it off of him.
The only way I see it going to Cody Rhodes is if they're planning on doing a steel cage match at, say, SummerSlam. Like they do a one-upmanship thing. I love the one-upmanship storylines. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I've said that about a lot of matches, but the World Heavyweight Championship match: Sheamus versus Dolph Ziggler. Who's going to win?
I'm going to go with Sheamus. I got to go with the guy whose only color pigment seems to be in his hair.
Lee?
I've got to go with Sheamus, but how tempted would you want to be to go for Dolph? Just because no one's expecting him to win. Why would it be? You just go for it. I would just... If I was booking it, I would book Ziggler to win.
So would I. I'm tempted. I'm so tempted. Garvin, who are you picking?
I'm going to go ahead and go with Dolph. I think, he gets one of the best reactions. He's one of the better workers. If there was a time that they could actually put the title on him and do something good with it, now would be it, just because of so many people are gone. So yeah, I would take the gamble and do it now.
Yeah, I'm going to put my pick on Ziggler. The only drawback I have right here is for your explanation about the Intercontinental Championship match, Garvin. If Cody Rhodes is going up, they need to have the title on a face. And you can't... I mean, unless you're planning on putting him against CM Punk or John Cena. You've got to have Sheamus win the match.
The one thing Ziggler's got going for him was on Raw, there was a hell of a lot of Ziggler chants.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, but I think this, just to make my pick here cemented, Dolph Ziggler, if they're going to do it, this is the time. Make him the breakout star, just like you did with Randy Orton, way back when Randy Orton won his first title.
I think it goes back to, was it Sheamus? I think it was Sheamus who beat John Cena? Like the TLC 2009, was it, or something silly? Just out of the blue.
Yeah.
It was a table match. I don't think it was
that
a
was the
TLC
one,
match.
Yeah, that's the one.
And that shocked. Yeah, that could be a great time because that shocked the hell out of me too. I'm like, there's no way in hell Sheamus is. Holy shit, Sheamus won.
Yeah, Cena does have a track record of losing at tables matches.
Yeah, he does.
He may win the Iron Man match, but he loses a table match.
Yeah, he won't say I quit, but you can put him through a table fairly easily.
I would love to put him through a table.
I'm sure you would.
Wham! Riot Act. The WWE Championship match: CM Punk versus Daniel Bryan versus Kane. What's going on, guys?
I'm gonna go with CM Punk.
Rob goes with Punk. Lee?
This is for the first time, if anyone follows my feed, they will know I absolutely love CM Punk and I back him, but this time I cannot see it. I think it's going to be Daniel Bryan.
Garvin?
I'm going to go with Kane.
I'm right there with you, buddy. I am right there with you.
Really?
Yeah. You remove the WWE Championship from Punk and Bryan and just let them go at it. They don't need the title to entertain.
Who's Kane going to feud with?
Cena.
Oh, not again. Give over.
You could see a lot of... you could see all kinds of shit going on. You could see possibly him versus Big Show. They may try and work the anti-hero thing with Kane. He's got the twisted girlfriend in AJ, if that they decide to go with that. If not, he's just the guy who came out stronger after beating those two guys. I mean, Jericho's out for how long? Jericho should be coming back soon. You could see Jericho Kane. They did that before. I mean, granted, it was a bad match because Kane was like 12 feet away from where he needed to be for the lion salt. And you saw him not only straighten out, but also move over about 3 or 4 feet. That's one of my favorite botches of all time in wrestling. But, I mean, I think there's possibilities, but Kane, I think, is the one who's going to take it.
Risky move.
Oh, it's a gamble. It would make for an interesting storyline, I'll tell you that much.
It would. I'll give you that.
Moving on to John Cena versus Big Show. Steel cage match. If Big Show wins, Johnny Ace is fired. Rob?
Fuck it. I'm going to go with the Big Show.
It's basically been set up for Big Show to win, but I'm going to go with Cena.
Lee goes with Cena. Garvin?
Yeah, it has been set up for Big Show to win, but at the same time, I mean, if you read the dirt sheets and fill up on the whole conspiracy that's building right now because the WWE actually took Laurinaitis off of their corporate website. He's no longer the vice president of talent relations, like in real life. So it's possible that they'll fire him or they'll put him into another spot. I'd love to see Big Show win, but with that in public knowledge, I don't know how they could.
There was a thing as well about, not to give away too much, but there was where he's changed his title. Like there was a local advertisement for Raw next week where he's changed his title, so...
I mean, and they could be saying that, oh yeah, Johnny Ace is going to be fired of being the vice president of talent relations, but he may still continue to be Raw GM. Or this is just the big send-off for him to retire. Garvin, just to clarify, though, you picked John Cena?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go with the Big Show because I don't see them firing Johnny Ace yet. It's not a big enough pay-per-view for them to do that.
Yeah.
To shut the door on that storyline. And then on top of that, Triple H will be addressing the Brock Lesnar lawsuit situation. That says to me, Brock Lesnar, Triple H, SummerSlam. Main event.
Yeah. Probably.
I wouldn't expect Lesnar to be there, though. I expect Heyman to be there.
Yeah, I don't expect Lesnar to be there. But I do think Triple H... Well, you never know. Lesnar could come out and say he'll drop the lawsuit if Triple H will fight him and then just destroy him. Or Heyman puts the proposal out there when Triple H accepts, Brock Lesnar comes out and just destroys him.
Yeah.
I mean, there's your options, but like we said when we began discussing No Way Out, we will be doing a No Way Out pay-per-view special this Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Joining us will be Mike from the PWTorch.com, and if it's like any of our other pre-shows, it's not a show to miss. It's a lot of fun. So you guys ready for a little bit of win fail?
Yes.
Yeah, let's go with win fail.
Women wrestlers aren't getting paid? Why do you do a job?
Here's your win.
You do any job,
And fail
is to fucking get paid!
of the week.
Alrighty, win fail. Wins of the week, Rob. What is your win of the week?
AJ Styles sliding under the fucking guardrail. That was amazing. I'm sorry.
Nice. Lee?
The win of the week for me is probably that tag team match at Slammiversary, AJ Angle and Kaz and Daniels. It was absolutely fantastic stuff. It really was.
My win of the week is going to be AJ's moves on Kane. Those were some of the best moves I've seen her pull off. She totally hit her mark on that big old red machine, and I don't know. I'm just falling apart. Damn, that was hot.
You're going to say you're getting into that a bit too.
Giggity. I didn't want to sound like I was too Kane. You know what I mean?
Well, he only does a dead woman. He's only gone to hell. He's only got a mask on. He's fine.
Oh, come on. Triple H is the one who did Katie Vick in the coffin.
You don't know that Kane didn't do it. You don't know that.
Triple H in the coffin with Katie Vick. It's like a bad game of Clue. The chat is saying wins the week is Kane getting some and TNA Slammiversary. And surprisingly, Vince dancing on Raw. That was pretty damn funny.
That was brilliant.
I think the shining moment was just Zack Ryder's reaction. The mouth agape, just dumbfounded look. And then Vince going, woo, woo, woo.
That was very, very funny.
All right, fails of the week. Let's start with Lee.
Yeah, my fail of the week is Domino's Pizza. Just for whoever missed that. King ordered Domino's Pizza about quarter of the way into the show. We never saw that pizza again. And I'm really confused. But I've got to say, I did find out that apparently it got taken backstage. In all seriousness, the fail of the week was probably... I would go with the 3-hour structure of Raw.
Solid pick. Rob?
That's a solid pick. I'm gonna back that, just for the fact that, I don't see how it's a win for WWE to put on basically a pay-per-view every week with a roster as beat up as the one that they've got.
My fail of the week is going to be Vader. For this, I love seeing Vader, but like I said earlier, the fact that he got a bigger pop and was more of an attraction for the show than the younger guys on the card, the fact that they have to keep going back to the Attitude Era to draw for that pop.
He was the number one trend on Twitter, and the fans gave him the third biggest pop of the night, and the commentators loved it, and we all loved it except you.
No, I mean, I loved it, but I hate the fact that WWE has to go back that far.
No, I know what you mean. I'm just trying to annoy you. No. Don't.
Oh, no, no, dude, you got that down a long time ago, man.
Thank you very much.
Alrighty. The chat, their fails. Khali killing Alberto Del Rio twice. The Big Show air punch, Sandow doing a cartwheel, and Devon and Garrett doing a Rush Hour 2 moment. The entire SmackDown episode. And Garvin, you say you have a fail?
Yeah, it's very simple. Harrison.
Well, that's always a fail, Garvin. So, well, unless you guys have anything else. Oh, wait, nope. We do have a couple of things from Gary on our Facebook wall. Says the win of the week was AJ kissing Kane, and his fail of the week was Vinnie Mac dancing. Womp, womp, womp. Cy Debbie said her win of the week was AJ. Fail, not enough AJ. Seriously, she's one of the best women in the Big Two. I did Crazy Chicks. The only problem is now we have to make sure we add the word Styles when referring to TNA's AJ compared to WWE's AJ.
Yeah.
Lee or Styles? Lee or Styles? That's, on one instance you have Hot Lee, on the other instance we have R. Lee. Hi, Lee. No.
Man, you just no way to kill a conversation.
He's a master at it, isn't he, Lee?
Such a dick.
That's how you know we love you.
Wow.
I feel touched.
You got Lee to throw.
They touched you.
You got Lee to throw any semblance of British politeness out the window and just.
All right, Lee. Go ahead and plug whatever you want to plug, man.
Oh, yeah, cheers. Thanks a lot. I'm not plugging your bloody website again. Oh, man. No. I am Lee from WrestlingNewsSource.com. You can find us on Twitter at WrestlingNewsSource. We are around 30 away from 20,000 members mark, so that is brilliant. Or www.facebook.com/WrestlingNewsSource. All good.
Awesome. Well, that's it. That's the show. As you can tell, we are just a group of friends that do this in our spare time.
Yeah, group of friends.
Some of our acquaintances.
With friends like us, you don't need enemies.
Nope. You don't even need self-esteem at this point. We don't charge for this show like some shows do, but we do work really hard at making sure we put out some quality entertainment for you guys. I'm not asking you to send us money. Rob's not asking you to send us money. Garvin might be. Harrison probably is. But if you want to send us money, you can do so by buying a t-shirt. It's really easy. Go to ftwpodcast.com. There's an FTW merch link right at the top. Go ahead and buy a shirt. Some guys have already won them. Take a look at the shirts available. See if you got an idea for a shirt. Let us know. We might be able to make it happen for you. Otherwise, if you don't have the cash, we'd really like you to show your support. You can rate us on iTunes and help us improve our rank in their system. The higher up we get, the better chance we'll get more listeners. That turns into more bonus prizes for you, more topics, more guest hosts, all kinds of crazy shit. You can also tell your friends and spread the word about us. We're incredibly easy to find. FTWpodcast.com, FTWlive.com. It's really easy. You can find us on Facebook at Facebook.com/FTWpodcast, Twitter.com/FTW Podcast, YouTube.com/The FTW Podcast. You can leave us a voicemail at 313-444-FTW4. That's 313-444-3894. Email your questions to questions@FTWpodcast.com. Thank you to everybody in the live chat. We record every FTW Podcast episode on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. at FTWlive.com. Remember, we're doing that No Way Out pay-per-view special this Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern with Mike from PW Torch. We're wild. We're crazy. We're everywhere. You love us. Check us out. I don't think I have anything else to say other than see you guys later.
Later, guys.
See you later.